How would you like to make your first million? And today we have with us Leo Young, which is the founder of Cornell Communities, and he is in a real estate business. He's based in New York. So, Leo, tell us what are the 5 steps that you recommend entrepreneurs in order to make the first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Thanks for having me on, Harry, and excited to be here. My 5 steps to making a million in business. I call it the 5 Gs. So the first is you want to figure out what game you want to play. It's so important to figure out the right vehicle based on what you're good at and what the opportunity is in the market. So you want to spend a lot of time thinking what is a good game to play, because the mistake I see a lot of people make is that they rush into the first thing that comes to mind, or they take their ideas from social media. Everyone's trying to do AI nowadays. Guess what? Most people are not going to make money in AI. Even the big companies, they're losing tons of money. What makes you think you can make money, right? Okay, second is you want to get competent. So to be an asset in the value in the marketplace, you have to become valuable, because if your product or service is not valuable, why would someone trade you the dollar in their hand for your service, right? If they think that your service is less than a dollar, they're not going to give you the dollar. So you need to get valuable. And for anyone starting out, you're not valuable. You don't have the skills. So like, how do you build it, right? And the only way is to pick a game and go all in on it. You want to learn everything that you can. That way you know more than others and you can deliver more value than others. So once you do those 2 steps, you want to get known, because guess what? Closed mouth don't get fed. If you have the best product or service, but no one knows about it, guess what? You're not making money and you're not paying the bills. So you need to get known. And this is quite hard for a lot of people who are not naturally extroverted or natural born salespeople to reach out. But it's the good news is that it's a muscle. And like every other muscle in your body, you can train it. You can start with 1 pull-up, then go to 2, then 3, then 4, right? So same thing, you can reach out to one person, you can ask for a warm intro, you can figure out different ways. Now you have AI to do it. If you don't know how to reach out to someone, talk to AI, ask it how to create a good outreach. Number 4, you want to give and over deliver an amazing experience, because once you have a customer, they're so valuable. When you're starting your business, if you don't do good work, guess what? Nobody's going to refer you business and nobody cares about your business, right? But if you knock it out the park, if you deliver such a wow and memorable experience to your customers, then they're going to tell their friends about it. They're going to be happy, and you can tell other people as well. They could become your case studies, and it all compounds from there. And that's the last G. You want to grow and iterate. So if you stick in your ways that you know, you will stay and you will get the results that you get. But you have to continuously challenge yourself. Do more outreach, do more marketing, get a better product, deliver to more people, right? You have to iterate and grow and set aside your ego so that you can compound eventually to a million.
Making money in property is easy. Out of the 500 million that we have interviewed in this podcast, Leo, 1 out of 5 are property investors, property millionaires. But can you tell us what is the good, the bad, and the ugly of property? Because it doesn't matter what I say here. People listen to the podcast and say, wow, 1 out of 5 millionaires that are doing property. I want to make a million. I want to do property. So the statistics from this show reveals that property is a great vehicle uh, to to generate wealth compared with other vehicles out there. It's an statistics from this show. Maybe I'm attracting them, but I don't think so. It's so more wealthy people are in property and in tech than in the other sectors. Okay, and it's reflecting this because 1 out of 5 property, 1 out of 5 are tech. So Um, can you tell us to our audience, young entrepreneurs, our listeners, what is the good, the bad, and the ugly of property? So my first business was also in property.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that, yeah, you can, whatever, but if something goes wrong in property, it's a lot of money. And so tell us the honest truth.
So the good, the bad, the ugly about real estate investing. The good is that this, especially in the US, it's such an incentivized activity because the government is practically paying you to buy real estate, right? Through their tax incentives. And there's so many things that just make it worthwhile for you to invest in real estate. So you have that natural tailwind behind you as an investor. The bad is that most people underestimate what it takes to not only invest, but to succeed in investing in real estate. There's plenty. As you'll see, during COVID, a lot of people got wiped out in real estate because they followed social media, they did whatever was trendy, and they don't know how hard it is to succeed. They don't know how much time it takes, how much expertise it takes to succeed. And the ugly is the risk that you take on as an investor. So if you buy properties yourself and you sign on to the loan, guess what? The bank's coming after you. They're getting paid no matter what. So you have to face the truth and know the risk that you're signing up for. Or you can be a limited partner, which removes the risk from your hand. It takes a lot of the time and expertise requirements out of your hand as well. But you have to find a sponsor that is competent, knows what they're doing, and can deliver the results for you.
What do you recommend for people starting out in property?
They have to get competent. They have to learn the ins and outs of real estate to the extent that they want to. If they want to buy their own properties, there's a lot, right? You have to know a lot to become valuable in the marketplace to actually deliver value. But if you're a passive investor, limited partner, you could do much less resource or much less research, and you want to find a good team to that you trust to invest with.
Let's talk about social responsibility and impact investing because there are a certain population or type of investor that they love that make an impact with the investment. And we spoke before the broadcast that you're doing property investment, but also it's attached with social responsibility because you are creating social housing. So tell us, can we do good and make money at the same time?
Absolutely. I think that's something that a lot of people get wrong too. And it's that money is the root of all evil and that, the rich people, they're not driving good impact to the world, but that could not be further away from the truth. I mean, if you think about it fundamentally, there is no inherent good or bad to money. It's just a resource, right? Every single project needs money. If you're building a bridge, it needs money. If you're building a school, it needs money. If you're providing affordable housing, it needs money. So it's just a matter of what you put your money towards. And the wealthy and successful people, they think differently. They don't think, oh, I want to spend money on this LV bag, on this whatever. They think of where can I allocate capital to causes I care about? So a lot of our investors, they know the importance of affordable housing in America. There's such a shortage of affordable housing that they want to contribute to this and also get rewarded along the way because, I mean, there's no free lunch. You have to deliver returns to your investors. Otherwise, they're not even going to talk to you.
Now, let's say a bit more about how you get specialized. You build this affordable housing, you buy them already built and allocated to affordable housing. What specific you specialize, from here in real estate, from podcast. Yes, we have people that develop storage. There are people that buy warehouses and in the storage. There are people that do rent to own development. There are people that lend money for real estate. There are different all related with real estate, but we have a different spectrum. Yeah. So I remember once I was working in London with a friend of mine, property developer. He owns houses in London and US. He lives in London. So, and he told me that I was working with him in London, and we saw two buildings, and we saw one house in the middle. Okay, one unit in the middle. And he told me, "Harry, you see this unit there, this house there? This you can go one floor over, then you mark the size of the building. So between this, with like air space, and of course, very selective people knows about this. So I bet that the owner of that property doesn't own that. So if you buy that property, you can build two floors on top, and you can make a lot of money from it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the point is, you need to find your niche, your strategy, your specific what you specialize within the property. Yeah, a lot of wealth can be created, but there are a lot of segments. So tell us, what is the segment that you specialize, and how you discover your niche. I told you by
Yeah.
accident. What happened?
Yeah, sure. So our niche is manufactured housing communities. It's a subsect within multifamily within affordable housing that it's a very nuanced little kind of property that essentially we own the land underneath the manufactured homes, and we rent the homes out. We maintain the infrastructure. We give the residents a good quality of life, and the nuance with it and why it's so compelling as an investment is because the supply is very constrained. These projects are not getting approved anymore, and it doesn't make sense to build a new project like this. So therefore, there isn't a lot of them. But the benefit and the positive to the economy is that this is really affordable housing. These to live in one of them, the lot rent is probably around 30% of what comparable rent is in the same city. So to a resident, it's a very compelling reason to stay there. And because of that, they stay a long time. And to us as investors, we love long-term tenants. There is no turnover cost. We don't need to manage that. And it's a lot less complex than other asset classes. Like apartment buildings, you have to manage a leasing staff, elevators, roofs, all that stuff. Whereas like mobile home parks, manufactured housing communities, it's just the land infrastructure, and that's about it. That said, though, it is very difficult on the back end. There is a lot of coordinating with residents, and also infrastructure issues are not to be taken lightly. So, how did I come across this? It was kind of by luck. I was sat down one time by a mutual friend that just he was doing an internship at a fund that bought essentially manufactured housing, and he walked me through the investment thesis. He walked me through basically what I just mentioned to you and why it's so compelling. And I thought it made a lot of sense because A, there's money to be made and you can deliver results to investors, but B, that you're actually providing a good service to the economy that they want.
Yeah, and I think social responsibility is a big thing that we advocate a lot in this podcast. So basically, you guys buy the land, right? And then you develop affordable houses. Is that correct?
Yeah,
All over
exactly.
US,
Yep, exactly.
all over US. Wow, that's that's amazing. And so, uh, in terms of the return on investment, right? Because we can see there, for example, in the real estate, okay, you see, oh, you buy into this development, you're gonna make a lot of money as a return or whatever, and sometimes the numbers doesn't make sense. So tell us what is based on your experience, what is realistic return in the real estate, and then what is the realistic return in this operation that you have. That it seems to me that number one, because they are affordable housing, I think that most of them is the government pay the money to the tenants, yeah, and so because they have some kind of help, and then so your rent is paid, right? Is no risk in in your rent. I don't know how it works.
Yeah,
I'm making it hypothetically. I tell
I
you, in
actually
London, we
know.
have this.
Yeah.
In
I
London, we
actually
have
know
that.
that this is it's a very unique kind of model because this is not generally
So
government
basically
subsidized.
cheapest. Ah, okay. So
It's the
it's
cheapest
cheapest.
non-government subsidized form of
Oh,
housing.
wow.
So it doesn't strain the government's resources to
But
provide
if
this.
someone is subsidized, they go and they can apply, right?
Yeah. So we see them,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Okay, very good. So everybody pay less rent. So everybody pay less rent. They stay longer. They look after the house.
exactly.
We all been in the game, so we know how it works. Tenant
Yeah.
doesn't leave, so less
Yeah.
voids. Now, in terms of returns, yeah, because you're making
Mhm.
something interesting. You said, well, the affordable this type of structure is only land and the building itself, right? So maybe I don't know because this is you're about to tell us now, but maybe you can make a good return out of this because on the other luxury business you have a lot of costs. You have to maintain all these, and all that affect the profit and the overall returns. So how is because investors, some of them, yeah, most of they are working with you. I know that they're impact investors. They want the money to do good and make money. Okay. There are other type of investors that say, I don't care, Harry, I don't care. How much I'm putting in, how much I'm taking
Yeah.
out, when that's all they want to talk about. They really don't care. So,
Yeah.
tell us in
Yeah.
terms of numbers compared with the other traditional investment opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, so the beautiful part about manufactured housing is that the returns are actually really strong, and especially
Yeah.
when there is potential
Interesting.
inflation or recession risks, these assets
Hmm.
perform super well in it. So just to give you an example, across our properties, we're seeing around 15 to 20% annual returns. So, when our investors they invest, they could probably double their investment once every 5 years. So
Wow,
that's super
that's
powerful.
that's amazing, Leo. So powerful, Leo. And then the other thing that so you guys developed it, but you don't sell those properties. You just rent it, or you sell those properties with that condition that they had to be that when they rent it to a tenant, they had to be at certain price. Is that
So
correct?
we typically we buy the homes, we put it into the land, and then we sell off the homes to a resident who then owns the home and then pays us the rent for the land.
Okay. Let's see. And then the investor. So the investor that is investing, the return is coming in the rent that the landlord paying for the homeowner paying for the land, right?
Exactly, exactly. So they get a portion
Okay.
of the cash flow. It comes in steadily. We distribute quarterly, and we take out all the expenses. We budget for any repairs, maintenance, capital projects that are needed. That way, things are smooth.
I get it. I get it. Finally, I get it. And then the investors are buying the land. Okay, the land has nothing there, but then you build something on top. Then the land will worth more, right? You have an
Exactly,
immediate capital growth there, right? So they're
exactly.
investing with you guys. They're investing with you guys to buy the plot of land, okay? And once they you guys allocate that, yeah. Now what happens? Somebody is come and build the whole thing, yeah, and they bring their own funds, absolutely, yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, so you guys don't need to deal with the funds that actually building the development, right? You don't have to put any money on this. The developer comes with the funding and everything,
No, no,
right?
no. So we are the developer. We are
You
the owner
also
and the
gonna
developer.
develop.
We do end to end. Yeah. So we buy the property and then we bring in the homes. We raise the funds to do all of that, to also
Do development.
service the community and also make upgrades to infrastructure as needed.
Okay, I understand the return on the land, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and what would be the return for the investor? I know that you guys put in the package all together, but what would be the return on investment in the for the developers that for the
Yeah.
people that put in the money to build the building itself because they're also putting money there, right?
It's all one package. So
It's
it's
a one
not
package.
separate. So
It
they
doesn't matter,
invest
right?
in this project.
In the whole
Let's say
package.
exactly. Let's say there's a property in North Carolina we're looking at. They buy into the entire project, the land development, everything, and any homes that we bring in, then we sell it off. We increase the profitability, and as you know, in commercial real estate, the more profitable a property, the higher the valuation. So that's how we make our
Absolutely.
returns.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then the whole thing, as soon as everybody's in and start to pay rent, there is cash flow. So definitely can reference if that's possible in some cases.
Exactly.
Okay, I get it. Well, so how many of those have you done?
Yeah.
And
So
where?
right now
In
we
New
have
York, all over the.
Yeah, we have a few key markets. We have some properties in the tri-state area and some in the southeast and some in the Midwest. So right now we have a bit over 500 units under management of just manufactured housing communities and RVs.
Wow. How many units?
Over 500.
That's a lot, yeah.
A little bit.
Tell me about it. I used to have 28 and was a big headache.
Yeah.
So you mentioned 500. I'm like, all right, oh my God.
Yeah.
Sounds intense. I mean, it's a very operational,
Yes.
intense dealing with the tenants. However, my first business was in property. I was doing rent to rent in London. Basically, I was renting
Nice.
the house full, and I was renting by units. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
individual units, and so I was doing also something for the community because the community couldn't pay the whole house; it was too expensive.
Hmm.
But they could afford um, a room inside the house, so that's what they can afford, and we offer a product to the market. It was a decent place, right? Because this is the last spectrum. The people that rent rooms in London are the people that doesn't have enough money or they are students. They are very vulnerable, so usually they give it a most low quality as possible. So we get to this market and we offer something
Nice.
decent for them to live, and we did very
Yeah.
well. And we managed to
That's
sell over
great.
5 million doing these things in May. Yeah.
Wow.
So um, so we know the value of long-term value tenants. I have a tenant that paid me rent how many years? It was 12 years for one room.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And
Nice.
a large amount, talking about like, it was £100. I mean, London we have pounds there, it's a little bit more than a dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah, between 750, half of this, and then we increase it to 800 or 800 or 850. And they gave all those years, can you imagine? Yeah.
Hmm.
And I had several plural, not only one. I have
Yeah.
tenants for 12 years, tenant for 9 years, a tenant for 6 years, I have a tenant and pay good rent, meaning it's not like we give them like a discount. It was the market rate. However, we had to put a lot of in operation to treat them better than anybody else, so they don't leave.
Yeah.
You understand? So in break we will go very quickly, things like that, because otherwise. But we did understood the long term value of tenant, right? So this mode that you have, right, giving and actually it's for everybody. If you
Mm.
have government support, you can
Mm.
do it. But if it's not, you can uh, uh you just want to pay less. Who doesn't want to pay less rent? Everybody,
Exactly.
right? And
Exactly.
not too many people, the everybody want to pay less for what question is
That's right.
no question is that one, right? And you're talking
Right.
about 30% wow level. You have to be very efficient in the whole process, in the
Yeah.
whole development, how to choose the material, the speed, and so on, in order for that to
Yeah.
work for the investors. So tell us ballpark for the investors.
Hmm.
Ballpark, what are the? I know that the products are case by case, but an idea in terms of capital growth, cash flow. I'm a cash flow guy. I love cash flow. Like I said, my business was pure cash flow. You were renting rooms every month to making money, right?
Yeah.
So, so tell us, what are the returns? Of course, you cannot promise anything, but what are the range in terms of capital growth or monthly return that the investor can expect?
Yeah. So for us, we keep it simple. We want to provide strong cash flow in good economies and bad, and then also reward investors for the long term. So cash flow wise, we're seeing in our projects right now probably around 6 to 10% annually. And we usually pay that quarterly just to make sure that the cash flow is balanced. And long term, around 15 to 20%. So the ballpark is that we want to double your investment around once every 5 years.
Oh, wow. And the investor, they need to invest only in one project, or can they invest in several? At the moment, you work the project by project basis, or at the moment, let's say that you have more than one on
Yeah. So we offer project by project basis. That way the investors can kind of understand the market, see which asset that they're buying into. A lot of investors, they're repeat investors because they sort of see how we work. They see the work that we do. We're consistent with our communications and returns, and they're like, just let me know when you have the next deal. There's always a waiting list, and we always oversubscribe.
Okay, now let's go to talk about a subject that become a good entrepreneur. It doesn't mean that you are a good investor. Look, you are an entrepreneur and also an investor working with those investments, right? So one thing is to make the money, and the other thing is to keep the money. So what message do you have for the entrepreneur? Because we have people in this podcast that told me, Harry, I make millions, I exit my company, I took all this money and I give to the financial asset management to take care of my money, to grow my money. And when I came back after a year, a lot of zeros were missing. And they said to learn how this thing works, and I like me, because if I don't understand what's going on, and after a year I come, and what I lose is few zeros missing from my money, and we're very hard for it. So, for example, I always tell to the entrepreneurs in this podcast, like, look, if you have a business, you're making money, a lot of people, the business making money, they take all this money, reinvest in the business. They take all this money, reinvest in the business. So after 9 years, 10 years, guess what happened? COVID happened, something happened, unforeseen, then you're out of business in 2, 3 months. And then see all your money, all your things that you make, all your work that you didn't know, that the second part of the question, things making money honest. I always said that I need more base to be, for example, you have your business is making money. Okay, buy a house or invest in a project like this, and then that cash flow that this project is giving you, take this for marketing for your own business, take it for marketing. So guess what happened? If you go out of business, you still have the asset producing you income. You know what I mean? So it's more. They can, but for that they have to start to learn one part that they need, they just don't know they need, which is probably about becoming an entrepreneur, making money. You have to be learning, okay, how to becoming some progress of myself. For me, business, making money, blah, blah. Well, I realized that, hold on a minute. If you don't learn how to invest, and you will never be able to keep the money, right? That's why the people who win the lottery, they all of 80% they're broke, and see some NFL stars and everybody. How come these people make millions and they're broke? They're fighting bankers. It doesn't make sense. Well, one thing is making, another thing is keeping it. So
exactly.
What message do you have for the entrepreneurs out there in terms of when they should start to learn not only to make money, but also to keep the money?
So how a lot of people view money is kind of like this aggregate object. They don't look at it in terms of directions. So the best investors, they view money in two directions. They have vertical income and they have horizontal income. So a lot of people and business owners, they come to us, they have great vertical income. They're crushing it in their business. They're making a lot of money. But hey, if they get hit by a car, like no one's running the business is going downhill, right? You're losing money. You don't have horizontal income. So that's why a lot of people come to us. They want to build that financial buoyancy. So when you have assets that outwork you, they make you money day in and day out while you sleep. That's how you build that financial buoyancy. That's where you build to that financial independence. So a lot of people do that. And I'll give you one story. So my mother, she was a career translator. So she translated documents for a living. And guess what? Google Translate came along and her entire career was gone. But through the years, when she was younger, she knew about the concept of horizontal income. She was always very diligent to invest in properties, in different things that give her cash flow. And fortunately, when that day came that Google Translate basically took away her job and her career, then she was okay because she had enough horizontal income she built through the years. So a
Wow,
lot of
what a
successful
great
business
story.
owners, exactly. So a lot of successful business owners, they come to us because they want to build up that horizontal income. That way it protects
Mm-hmm.
them.
100%. And leaving employees, you know what I mean? It's not only for entrepreneurs, but also for employees. If you're an employee, well, you need to start a business. If you start to invest and to understand risk and understand and due diligence and things like this, you will be able to achieve uh, uh, to when the time comes, yeah, when technology surprise you or anything can happen. The other day I speak with my brother, but he import and export decoration furniture from Asia to all over Europe. He has clients all over Europe, big warehouse, a big operation. He called me the other day and said, Harry, yeah, you're not gonna believe what happened. I said, what happened? He told me, look, it was a fire 9 kilometers from warehouse. And they said, okay, fine. He told me, we blow that fire only 200 meters from the warehouse. I'm
Wow.
like, what? He said, look, and I went there. And when I went there, I couldn't even go to a warehouse because the fire brigade have sealed everything. So we couldn't even get in. So, and I told him, my brother, man, in order for this thing to happen to you, you only need to be in business
Yeah.
on these kind of crazy things, like having your mom and Google Translate. Who's gonna
Right.
thought that we're gonna have this Google Translate thing and
Yeah.
overnight,
Right.
overnight and leave the whole thing, you know what I mean? Who's
Yeah.
gonna thought that a fire can be in the middle of nowhere and the wind blow it only 200 meters specific from your own warehouse? Um, who's gonna thought that COVID is gonna come? You know?
Mhm. Yeah.
So sometimes the entrepreneurs don't understand that everybody we have this metaphor that the business is gonna outlast us.
Yeah.
I am several. I tell you, this is not how it works. You try to build it and sell it, you can. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yep.
mean? You want to create your legacy. Well, it happens for some business, but it's not a regular case. But building wealth and keeping the wealth is something that we encourage on this podcast to everybody to start learning, and it's a skill. Same like become an
Absolutely.
entrepreneur. The more you
Yeah.
practice, the better you become. To be a good investor, the more you practice, the better you become. Speak with Leo, let me see what is the property, what is the land, how they think, can I start small, things like that. The other question, Leo. People, the barrier to entry for this project, because we see projects out there in property, no, you need to put a lot of money. So what is the barrier of entry of the investors? Do you guys work with retail investors or they only have to be large institutions?
Yeah, yeah. So fortunately we do work with retail investors. That's something that we feel really strongly about and want to offer because me and my co-founder, we came from the private equity world and our funds their minimum check size is like $10 million. So it's like who can invest in this outside of like life insurance companies, pension funds, whatever. So we wanted to offer this opportunity to regular people, individuals,
Mhm.
employees, business owners and stuff.
And they
So we
can
want to keep
contribute
it
to the community also.
Exactly. We want to keep it as low as we can. Typically the range is around 50,000 to 250,000 as a minimum, but we try to keep it on the lower side. So 50,000 minimum for as long as we can.
Reasonable. Wow,
Yeah.
very reasonable. So, everybody can participate with these numbers, and then you have the opportunity to empower something in your community, right? So
Exactly.
the people, the businesses around. Okay, I mean, if you have a development, let's say how many units? 50 units, 100 units.
Mhm.
What are the ballpark, Leo? The how many when you're doing a development? How many units minimum you guys do when you're taking a big plot of land?
So our typical project size is around 30 to 200 units. That's kind of the sweet spot where we have enough budget from the property to install our systems because we have professional management, we have the software and whatnot. And then if it gets too much bigger, then the institutions are just too competitive because their cost of capital is cheaper. They give their investors a far lower rate of return than we give our investors so that they're able to get more aggressive with their offers. And so we'll bid on these projects that are, call it a $10 million project. We'll submit an offer for 7, and the winning buyer will submit an offer for 11 million. And we're $4 million off. We're not even close. So we stick in our lane. We know what we do well in. We compile portfolios, and then we sell it to the bigger guys.
Wow, that's amazing, Leo. So, Leo, thank you so much for the broadcast. If somebody wants to know more about you and what you do, what you specialize about the portfolio and everything, how people can find you, how the process are.
Yeah. So 2 ways to reach out to me. One, you can reach out through LinkedIn. My name is Leo Young, LeoYoung, or Instagram, Leo Young Real Estate. Or you can reach out to us from our website. You can learn more about our asset class, manufactured housing communities, how to invest with us, how to get on our wait list for the next deal. That's at cornellcommunities.com. So it's CornellCommunities.com.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for the podcast. And for all of you following the broadcast, see you in our next episode of Unstoppable. How brave entrepreneur like Leo break the wall and achieve the 5 minutes. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Harry.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.